On March 27, 2026, a massive barrage of missiles tore through the sky over the Middle East, targeting a fortress of American military power. The coordinates led directly to Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. For years, this sprawling facility has operated as the central hub and staging ground for American global air dominance across the entire region. But the incoming swarm of drones and missiles didn't go after the heavily armed fighter jets. The attackers bypassed them entirely to strike the logistical backbone of the fleet, specifically targeting massive refueling aircraft like this one. The most devastating loss of the night was the total destruction of an E-3 AWACS plane, wiping out $700 million in a single blast. You can see the massive radar dish on top. This aircraft serves as the indispensable eyes of the military, providing early warning and coordinating exactly where every missile and friendly jet is in the sky. Losing an AWACS and a fleet of refuelers completely blinds a superpower. Without the flying gas stations to extend their range, and without the airborne radar to guide them, a multi-billion-dollar fleet of advanced fighter jets is instantly grounded, stripping away American operational reach across the Middle East. In the immediate aftermath, the U.S. military initiated standard crisis public relations. The strategy was simple: lock down the information and downplay the severity of the damage at the base to prevent widespread panic. But the cover-up collapsed almost immediately. High-resolution satellite imagery and photos from the ground leaked to the global public, clearly showing the smoking wreckage of multi-million-dollar assets that were supposed to be untouchable. The inability to control the digital narrative turned a localized physical loss into a sprawling geopolitical embarrassment. Seeing destroyed American hardware plastered across the internet publicly shattered the illusion of a totally invincible superpower, which raises an alarming question. How does a smaller regional military force achieve such pinpoint accuracy against billions of dollars in American air defenses? The attackers didn't do it alone. They relied on a critical, unseen link: Russian intelligence. By passing satellite telemetry directly to foreign missile operators, Russian command nodes provided the exact coordinates needed to thread the needle of U.S. defense systems. This shadow strategy is known as Operation Hidden Hand. It allows Russia to feed perfectly calibrated targeting data to Iranian forces, effectively weaponizing an allied military without ever officially declaring war or putting a single Russian boot on the ground. Iran possesses a massive, highly capable arsenal of ballistic missiles. But combined with the influx of pristine Russian satellite data, that raw hardware is suddenly empowered to strike with lethal, surgical precision. We are watching a terrifying new model of proxy warfare. Rival superpowers can now completely bypass the superiority of American military hardware and inflict massive casualties simply by sharing a data stream. Once the missiles hit their targets, the attackers transitioned immediately from the physical battlefield to the digital domain, launching an aggressive, highly coordinated propaganda campaign. The United States suffered over $3 billion in total kinetic damages. In stark contrast, opposing military officials posted videos of themselves casually sipping pomegranate juice while the missiles launched in the background. They weaponized Gen Z internet culture to maximize the insult. By cutting together TikTok videos, leaning into viral trends, and deploying memes, they actively mocked the US administration in front of a global audience. In modern asymmetrical conflicts, the war online is inseparable from the war on the ground. Destroying the enemy's psychological dominance on the internet serves the exact same strategic purpose as destroying their radar planes in the desert. Back in the United States, this severe public embarrassment corners the political leadership. Facing a humiliating defeat broadcast on every smartphone, the administration is pushed toward an extreme, reactionary posture. Retaliatory plans are forced onto the table. The conversation shifts rapidly from maintaining air superiority to the logistical nightmare of preparing for a messy, protracted ground invasion. A massive ground war requires manpower the current military cannot sustain. Geopolitical analysts are now openly predicting the terrifying consequence: the reinstatement of a military draft, forcing American citizens under the age of 30 into uniform. A single failure of air defense halfway across the world instantly spirals into a direct threat against the lives, freedom, and futures of American civilians. But even before the first draft notice is printed, the financial fallout hits. Rumors of a massive, protracted war in the Middle East cause global fuel prices to skyrocket overnight. This chart shows the unique vulnerability of the American public. Unlike populations in countries like India, where only around 6 or 7% of people invest in stocks, a massive 55% of US citizens rely entirely on the stock market to fund their retirements. The looming threat of war triggers a rapid, brutal sell-off. Almost instantly, the Nasdaq index drops by more than 12%. This sudden market crash directly evaporates the savings, the 401ks, and the deeply held economic security of the American middle class. Adversaries no longer need to invade the homeland. Today, destroying a single radar plane in the desert is enough to crash the American economy.